Hello everybody. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I have been getting into reading scary stories on Reddit and I figured I would share that with you all. So, turn off the lights, get cozy, and let's read some. The time I was stoned and almost got kidnapped. It was the summer/spring of 2008. I was 15. Me and my 3 friends lived in a small town with not many busy streets. During the summer nights, we would hang out by this old shed near one of the back roads in our town. We usually would smoke weed behind the shed and get stoned. The first few weeks of the summer were weird. We had seen a guy for a few weeks in what looked like a late 90s Toyota minivan pull up on one side of the road near the shed. When we had seen him on the side of the road, he would never get out of his vehicle. He would just sit there. One night, on a Saturday I think, we did the same thing as usual and went to the shed to get stoned. And when the same guy in the minivan pulled up, we didn't think anything of it. About 30 minutes had passed, and we heard a car door open. And then it closed, and we heard footsteps nearby. We saw the guy walking towards us. Me and my friends had started to walk the opposite direction, and as soon as we did, the guy started to run. Me and my friends booked it back to my house. My house was only a block away, and while we were running, I got a glimpse of the guy. He was middle-aged and looked homeless. We had ran until we reached my house, adrenaline running through our veins. When we got inside, my mom was at work. We locked the door. We heard knocking at the door as well. We called the police, and when they arrived, the dude was gone. The police asked us for a description of the dude, and I told them what he had looked like and what car he drives. Apparently, he had been seen with little kids that had gone missing. We told my mom, and she wouldn't let us go back to the shed. And the update says this guy has not been caught to this day. Behind the sliding door. One night, I woke up on my couch in the living room. I got up to go to the bathroom by opening a wood sliding door that led to the office. I walked over to a door that led to the dining room and I closed it, but when I did, I thought I saw a head peeping out from behind the basement stairs. I got freaked out, but I thought I was seeing things. I went to the bathroom and heard something. I finished and I opened the door. My mom was downstairs. She got her laptop and started working, and I sat on a couch thinking about what I saw. I closed my eyes and then heard a door swing open, and then a loud bang and a clatter from the basement. Before I could get off the couch, I heard footsteps running up the carpet basement steps. My mom freaked out, and then it got to the top of the stairs. I shut the sliding door and put my finger over, shushing my mom. It was silent. 5 seconds later, we heard more running, and it stopped right behind the sliding door. You couldn't see behind it, though. And then I heard my older brother running downstairs. The sliding door opened, and my brother ran into the room with a bat. My brother ran to him and whacked him in the head, and then swung it at him again. The man was screaming. My mom was on the phone with 911, and my brother pinned him to the ground. The police showed up and arrested the man. They searched the house and the basement. Items were knocked all over the basement floor, and I just can't stop thinking about the moment when the man was behind the door. My friend almost died/got injured badly. In 2013, I was about 20 years old, and my friend was 21. We had went to Jamaica for my 20th birthday, and both of us had wanted to go bungee jumping while we were there. When we arrived, we had stayed there for a few days before going to bungee jump. When the day came, we went to this place at the edge of the ocean where you could bungee jump, snorkel, or ride a boat. I chose the bungee jump, and so did my friend, obviously. And there was a contract we had to sign, and we had to pay $300 to do it. And when the time came, we were waiting in a line of people who got strapped and jumped. The whole cord they used looked pretty old, and I didn't think anything of it. We'd finally gotten to do it, and my friend went first because I was a bit nervous. When they buckled him in, they told him not to touch the cord and to have fun. And everything seemed fine until he jumped. And when he jumped, he reached the most possible stretch of the cord, came back up, went down, and then snap. The goddamn wire snapped. And when he did snap, he was pretty close to the ocean, so he landed in the water and swam back to shore. I was freaking out, and we had to tell them to give us our money back with the contract, but they wouldn't. My friend punched one of the guys in the face and left. I was shocked at what happened, and the next day we left. I'm still reminded about this till this day. A man was on top of me when I woke. The fuck? So, This isn't that scary, but I thought it was weird and it made me super uncomfortable. So I was sleeping over at my best friend's house, who I'll call Kat, and we had another friend sleep over who I'll call Angel. So Kat's little brother was 12 at the time and had a friend sleeping over too. His friend we'll call Adam, and we'll call Kat's little brother E. So me, Kat, and Angel were just listening to music. This was towards the end of the night, and we were planning on going to bed soon. My friend Kat and Angel like to listen to music when they fall asleep, and I don't mind it. So we all got tired and went to bed. Me and Angel were on the bed, and Kat was on the ground sleeping on a mattress. In the middle of the night, I woke up to someone on top of me and Angel. I woke up and pushed whoever was on top of me off, and then realized that it was Adam. Me and Angel looked at each other and what the fuck at the same time, and we sat up immediately and freaked out and started yelling at him and asking him what the fuck he was doing. He was mumbling and said stuff about E and saying random stuff, and when I had just had enough of it and told him to get out, I honestly felt freaked out about this, and the next morning we told Kat's parents about what happened. Well, that's the story. Not too scary, but it was really uncomfortable for me. Stop. So, A/N here. This is 100% true. Nothing of what you're going to read is made up. I don't know what to do with the things I've experienced, so I'm putting it out here. I hope you enjoy. Oh, and I apologize for any grammar mistakes I make. I'm going to get straight into it. I'm not a very paranoid or anxious person, but I do believe in paranormal stuff, even though scaring me is no easy task. Things always happen when I'm alone. Very cliche, I know. This has happened multiple times. I'm sitting at my work table right next to a large window. Outside the window is my balcony that's unfinished. There's no fence, and for it to happen, I have to be the only one on the second floor. At least that's what I've noticed so far. I heard dragging across the floor in my room in front of the door. It sounds like somebody's dragging their foot over the carpet, and I can tell from the noise that it's in my room, and it's painfully slow. I sometimes feel like it's taunting me. In some cases, I open the door to see if someone's outside, and there's no one and nothing there. If somebody wanted to sneak up the stairs and prank me, I would hear them entering the corridor because our doors are very old and make a lot of noise. And then, on another occasion, I was sitting in the same chair, mind you. The window is right next to me. I hear 3 evenly timed taps on the window. Very clear and very loud. There was no way in hell that I could have imagined that. I froze in my mind, and I was thinking, what the fuck just happened? I snapped out of it and quickly moved the curtains, and there was nothing. I went onto the balcony. There was no one there. Another thing that happened was I heard people calling my name, and it started happening in class, and I turned around and asked if someone was calling me, and no one was. And the same thing happened when quarantine started. I started hearing my mom as well. The shoe. On April 24th, just a couple weeks ago, my boyfriend and I drove from Minnesota down through Iowa and Nebraska to Colorado for a family emergency. We made a pit stop trying to leave exact locations out of this, to stretch our legs and also so I could look for geodes for a little bit. I found a wooded area near a park that had shallow runoffs from the large river nearby. It was about 6 p.m. and I've never been to the area before, so I had put on my rain boots and rock hunting gloves. I made my way down this little hill and into the woods, and my boyfriend trailed behind me a little bit. This place looked like it had been flooded, maybe in the early spring, because there was a lot of debris, garbage, and downed trees that were smooth from traveling down the larger river. So I'm walking around and examining the ground looking for some rocks when I see this men's athletic shoe that still has a sock in it, in the bank of this shallow little runoff. My first thought was, damn, what if there was still a foot in that shoe? I doubt it, but I've got to look. So I walked up to the shoe to inspect it, and inside, there was what I thought that might have been some rocks, twigs, dirt, and leaves. Figured maybe somebody stepped in some mud and lost their shoe. And sock. I've lost a shoe while rock hunting before. It's weird that the sock was still in it, but who knows? There was a lot of random stuff in the area. I guess I'd spent a total of a minute looking at the shoe. So I continue my search for geodes, and a little further up this run, I see a bone that I picked up to show my boyfriend to ask what kind of bone it was. I was assuming it was a cow or a deer or some kind of animal, and how creepy it would be if it was a human bone. I honestly didn't think it was actually a human bone because I definitely wouldn't have picked it up, but I figured the odds of it being human were slim to none. My boyfriend said, oh, it's probably just a deer bone or something, so I dropped it and kept looking for rocks. We didn't find any, and we went back to the car, and the rest of the details of the trip didn't really matter. I think we're in this area for about 30 minutes in total. So flash forward to last night. I was lying in bed scrolling through Facebook, and I came across this news article from a true crime page that I follow. The title said something along the lines of "Body of missing person found in Iowa, cause of death still under investigation." My blood went cold. Having not even opened the article to read the location or any other details, I had just this gut feeling. I instantly thought of the shoe with the sock in it and the bone that I had seen and picked up just 2 weeks before. So I clicked on the article, and as I'm reading it, I see that the body of a person who went missing over the winter was found along the bank of a larger river at the park that I was rock hunting at. And the case remains unsolved. I hardly slept last night because I had this overwhelming feeling that the shoe and the bone might have belonged to that person. I called the police department that was handling that case, and I explained to the dispatch lady everything I wrote above. The tone in her voice changed, and I could tell that she was crying. And she had told me that this case had kept her up at night. She had me send an email with the photos I took from the area and Google Maps that we had screenshotted, showing exactly where we'd been. She thanked me for calling and said that the head detective on the case would be calling me the next day or two. I can't stop thinking about this whole thing. I really hope that my findings will be able to give some sort of clue as to what happened to this person. Creepy kid in gym. Nothing paranormal or monster related this time, so I'll take it down if asked. But this encounter was the single most uncomfortable one I've had by far. Kind of long because I don't know how to get to the point, but here we go. My freshman year of high school, I had gym. This is pretty normal as far as I know, and everyone has to pass at least one fitness class before they can graduate. By default, it's just sort of shoved in one of your first year slots, and anyways, I wasn't particularly a big kid. I only weighed around 90 pounds my freshman year, and for some horrible, ungodly reason, all of the school creeps apparently had a thing for me. I should clarify there's only like 3 school creeps, and 2 of them never tried anything other than follow me around when I was trying to hold a conversation that I was obviously trying to duck out of. The third guy, though, I feel sort of bad for saying this, but I kind of feel like I have to. Apparently he has some sort of mental disability. Fuck it if I remember what it was specifically, but it was super mild and he seemed more or less normal. Normal time. Except he stank. And I don't mean normal high school boy puberty sweat type stink. I mean he smelled like actual wet garbage and sulfur. He was a year above me, being a sophomore, but due to this disability, he had failed gym the previous year. So I was retaking it and I was there. Gym was pretty normal, and we did shit like the stupid pacer tests, but twice a week we only did half of our classes, allowing us to spend twice as long in one period. And on those days, our coach only really made us do actual workout stuff for the first 40 minutes or so, and the rest of the time she didn't really care what we did, so long as we weren't sitting the whole time. This isn't super relevant story-wise, but visually, it is. This was an older gym, and on campus we had 3 gymnasiums, this one being the oldest. It was round, and thus was called the Dome, and inside it had a full-size basketball court with some odd space on the side, because it was a circular building. The bleachers were made out of old wood and didn't retract or anything, so they were elevated above the ground by small, elevated staircases. And during this free time, my only friend in the class and I would usually just walk around the top row of bleachers and talk until the period ended. Well, one day the aforementioned kid, I guess we'll call him John, started to try and join the pair of us, and usually this resulted in him walking behind us and talking to himself. My friend and I kept ourselves distracted, but then it happened. My friend was absent, I didn't talk to anyone other than her, so now I was left exposed for John. And it was fine at first. I tried to be polite and humor him, but then it changed. I don't remember every single little detail relating to the things he said or did, but I do remember the big ones, and I was pretty much traumatized after. One of the things he did was lean in and sniff my neck when I turned to look towards the center of the gym. Not my shoulder, not even the back of my neck. No, this kid pushed his nose right into the crook of my neck and sniffed me, and then started to talk about a few, quirky things he did. One of those was that he'd collect and play with dead moles that his outside cat brought to the house. Another, which was his masturbating habits. He vaguely mentioned STDs and continued to walk with me despite my visible discomfort. Actually, he started walking closer, brushing against my shoulders when I turned or bumping into my hip. He even tried to hold my hand multiple times. I don't know why I didn't say anything or run to the coach, who I had loved, by the way, but I do remember that I felt cornered. I felt disgusting, and the moment the bell rang, I booked it. Luckily, these half-period days, gym wound up being my last class, and I got picked up by my mother daily. I broke down in the car, and when I got home, I took a shower. I don't even know for how long, but when I got out of the water, it was ice cold, and I had scrubbed my skin so raw with the pumice stone that I had never used, but had anyways, that I was raw and bleeding in various places, and I had little scratches all over for the next week or so. Dog imitation. I'm a frequent commenter, so some of you may have read some of these. My girlfriend and I had moved into a second-floor apartment in a house her brother owns. Their mother wanted to keep the house and the family, as it was their dead uncle's, and before that, the house where they'd all grown up. 2 people have died in this house, and it was a very Catholic family. Pre-corona, when everyone was still working, I came up to build some furniture because I worked nights, so I had all these beautiful days free. They have 2 newer rescue dogs who are always crated downstairs that sound kind of like a stampede, but while I was up here, I'd hear what sounded like the TV on, or moaning from below me. I only heard a woman's voice remark how cute they were, only to find no one was home, and it sounded like her sister-in-law. A few weeks later, I was wearing the stupid, let's be stupid, let's summon demon shirt I had bought at Spencer's in bed asleep. I'd woken up at 3:12, and my dog was looking towards the door with his ears perked. It sounded like someone was walking around the kitchen. I mean, it was an old house, so I chalked all the noises as, just old house things, but this was like someone was really walking around our creepy old kitchen. Slowly got me was the sound of our key tray being lifted ever so slightly and dropped back onto our counter. Checked, but there was nothing. Then I went outside for a cigarette. The backyard leads directly to a swamp that has been very active since March with ducks and peepers. About halfway through, it gets dead silent, and I get a feeling of being watched, followed by terror and feeling so sick that I had stomped it out and sat in front of the toilet just in case. Passed pretty quickly, and I threw that shirt out the next morning. A few weeks later, I woke up to the same thing. Someone in the kitchen, only this time the dogs weren't waking up, but I'm 80% sure our bedroom door is slowly closing. We always leave the bedroom door open so Griff can use the bathroom, and always leave a light on in the kitchen. This past week, I get a text at 4 in the morning. The kitchen light is off and the bedroom door is closed, which is a little weird. We have a one-room door that does close itself, but it's not the bedroom. And now, today I'm sitting here watching Netflix, and with the stampede going on downstairs, Griff is in the kitchen barking. When someone barks back at him, what made it weird that it was almost too soon after a previous bark sounded almost crackly, but whatever had made it hadn't spoken in a while. But it sounded like a really good human's impersonation of my high-pitched Yorkie bark.